I will immediately come back to this Ukrainian dimension, but let me first say, Arctic is the main foreign policy priority of the Norwegian government. We had a new government in 2013, September 2013, and Arctic was the highest foreign policy priority of the previous government, and it is for the new government. And that is very important to say to understand the Norwegian position. And Arctic is important because, as you know very well, it creates new possibilities. And it creates new possibilities for all the member states of the Arctic Council, including Russia. And when it comes to the particular development in Ukraine, of course, Norway, together with all the other European countries, including Italy and all other NATO allied partners, we stand firm towards what Russia is doing in Ukraine, both on the Crimea and in Ukraine as such. At the same time, it's important to say that we have to continue with the cooperation between all the Arctic Council members, including Russia, in the High North, because they today respect the law of the sea, the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, and as long as they do that, we can cooperate. And it is a people-to-people cooperation, which is very strong. Last year, for example, more than 300,000 people crossed the border between Russia and Norway, which shows that there is a cooperation among people-to-people close to the border. But of course the situation in Ukraine also applies to the Arctic, because we have to have a cooperation based on, as I said, the law of the sea and UN Convention on Law of the Sea. There is great interest to follow the activities in the Arctic Council from all over the world. And that is, as I see it, not because there is a race for the resources in the Arctic, because most of what we believe are the future resources in the Arctic are within the boundaries of the economic zone of the member states. But the rest of the world's interest in what's going on in the Arctic is due to the climate change, and which affects the rest of the world. The Norwegian position has been that we have been supportive of other states and organizations applying for observer status in the Arctic, including the EU. And as we see it, this decision was taken last year in Kiruna to accept the EU as a formal observer. And what remains to be done is to implement that decision. So that is our position. So I don't think that there is a question of veto anymore, the decision of the EU entry. Then comes the development of the Arctic Council, which is of course very important. And with greater interest, there is a discussion within the Arctic Council how to proceed. We saw the last year's decision to create economic business forum in Arctic Council with the Secretariat, also in Tromsø, which shows that the Arctic Council are listening to the different voices. And I would assume that also in the future there will be discussions and adaptation of different ways to move forward. But it's too early to say if that will imply a structuration of the Arctic Council. That will be up to the members to discuss and decide. It's right that we have invested heavily, mainly in knowledge, because that's the most important part, to increase the knowledge about Arctic. And of course we also use our knowledge within the petroleum and energy sector to explore the possibilities. And yesterday, the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy in Norway licensed the 23rd round of licenses, including also some in the Barents Sea. And 2 licenses, by the way, were given to Eni, which has been on the Norwegian continental shelf from the beginning, which means that we are exploring new possibilities. There is, of course, a debate in Norway due to the very strong reduction on energy prices. If this is future of exploring and producing oil and gas in the high north, because it's extremely expensive, and that debate will continue. But we are, for the time being, exploring the possibilities. We saw the sanctions towards Russia. They mean that some of the activities done by European countries in northern Russia have been reduced. Russia has looked to China and other countries in Asia, as you know well, to help them to explore the possibilities. We will see what happens in the future, but it's very, very interesting, and I'm optimistic. Yeah, we have friends in the Arctic Council. I'm impressed what has been achieved from the Italian side. I remember when Franco Frattini was the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and with his interest of the Arctic, and he made also a visit to Spitsbergen, and we can now see that within Farnesina there is a strong interest. We supported, of course, the Italian application of observer status within the Arctic Council. And last year we were invited here in Italy to 3 different seminars showing that Italy is taking their obligations as an observer very seriously. There has been a visit to Norway from the State Secretary della, both to Tromsø and Spitsbergen, which shows that there is a commitment which we find very positive. So we look forward to continuing our cooperation with Italy about the High North and Arctic.
Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Mr. Ambassador.